Welcome everyone, I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and now that all of the film has been watched and all of the grades are in, it's time for the Football Game Plan Scouting 2018 NFL Draft Prospect Preview. Before we get started with our prospect rankings, here's how we gather our grades and what they actually mean. First, we watch a minimum of 3 full games on a player, a prospect's best game, his worst game, and the best or intriguing matchup. And second, we grade on 15 key points specific to the position to equal 100 points in total. Now, here's what the grades that you'll see by a prospect's name will actually mean. Prospects that earn grades in the 90s graded out as future NFL All-Pros. Prospects in the 80s are considered future Pro Bowl players. Grades in the 70s represent solid NFL starters, and grades in the 60s are players that we believe are spot starters in the NFL. And if you notice, we don't use the word reserve or backups because we personally feel as though that there are no such thing as backups in the NFL, only starters in waiting. So without further ado, let's kick off our prospect rankings by taking a look at our top 10.
Deshaun Hamilton of Penn State graded out as my #1 rated slot receiver in this draft class. He's the purest route runner in this class, and every route is a textbook example of how to get open, how to set up a defender, how to use leverage. Is very impressive to watch. He also shows a ton of savvy and polish in that department. He has good hands in my opinion, and a lot of his drops are concentration drops and hand placement. I do think that he's strong at the catch point and can win more than his fair share of 50-50 balls. He can also play any one of the wide receiver positions, but his game to me is tailor-made to function well on the inside as a pro. You can tell that nuances of playing the position means a lot to him. I love the enthusiasm in which Memphis's Anthony Miller plays the game. He plays with a great passion, and it shows up on the field in the way he embraces the one-on-one challenge versus a defensive back in man coverage. Now, despite his frame, he has no issue in catching the football in close quarters or away from his body. He's a very elusive receiver that's dangerous after the catch. He can also use a bit more muscle, as sometimes he can get out-muscled on certain routes, and there's a path for him to have success on the outside if that happens, but overall, he's a premier option on the interior. Kiki QT out of Texas Tech is your quintessential slot receiver. He's explosive, gets himself open quickly, and has the rack skills to make it a house call. That's run after the catch skills, by the way. His elusiveness is his best trait as a receiver, which forces defenders to not take tackling him or pursuing him very lightly. There is still a little bit more polish that can take place within his game, especially in the catching department, but there's a lot to like about what he brings to the table. Watching what Virginia Tech's Cam Phillips did on film, then realizing he played the entire 2017 season with a sports hernia makes it even more impressive. I love how Phillips attacks the ball at its highest point consistently and has a knack for coming up with a big reception at the most crucial time. He's got excellent hands and is an above average route runner, so it'll be interesting to see what he can do fully healthy as a pro. Rounding out the top 5 is Deontay Burnett out of USC. I'm a big fan of the fluidity within his game. He's able to get in and out of his breaks pretty quickly and shows top-notch acceleration. Route running polish is where you'll see him spend the most of his work as a pro trying to improve in that area, but his ability to break a game open with a critical catch or a big play off of a short pass that he turned deep is why you like a prospect like Burnett. Looking at prospects 6 through 10, and you see a ton of speed and quickness here with a little bit of power and toughness mixed in. Braxton Berrios, Jeff Badette, and Richie James are your standard speed, quickness, elusive options on the inside, while Tim Wilson out of East Stroudsburg and Jared Beard of Kentucky Wesleyan are your tough, physical, and quick options coming from Division II programs. I've followed Malik Presley's game since his freshman season at Fairleigh Dickinson. I was at the game against Lycoming 4 years ago, and Presley, then a true freshman, took the first pass of the game 60+ yards for a touchdown, and he went on to become one of the most prolific receivers in program history. I like his athleticism and his ability to weave his way in and out of traffic like a New York cab. Pro Day will be big for him, but I think he can play ball and could find himself in a training camp making plays. Rounding out the slot receivers, both Trey Quinn and Patrick Smith of Tennessee State are sturdy receivers that don't mind playing the physical game, and that makes them a threat after the catch. Smith is a receiver that's being criminally underrated right now and will be a name that you'll start to hear more of during the Pro Day circuit.
So that's a wrap for our 2018 FBGP Scouting Draft Prospect Preview. To see more of our individual scouting reports, follow us on Twitter at FBGP Scouting and bookmark the page footballgameplan.com/FBGP Scouting. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan, where you can get all of our scouting videos mock drafts, and NFL draft prospect videos. And one more thing, subscribe to us on iTunes under Football Game Plan Podcast, where you can find the Scout Team Podcast, where we interview multiple NFL draft prospects.